Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the.universary. Today's small claims case is out of DeKalb County, Georgia, in front of the Honorable Judge Axum. We have Pamela Beaubien versus Fred and Lorraine Aftergut. Fred and Lorraine used to own a condo in an HOA community, and it was purchased by Pamela Beaubien. She subsequently found out that there was a lot of very expensive work being done on the community, and she now had to pay for it. She believes that the Afterguts knew about the work being done and didn't disclose it to her so that she could make an informed decision about buying the property. So that's the case in essence. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you enjoy.
Beaubien versus Aftergut. Is everyone ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Beaubien versus Fred Aftergut and Lorraine Aftergut. Ms. Beaubien and I guess Mr. Aftergut, if he's planning to testify, if you all will raise your right hands.
Mr. Aftergut, raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the information you're going to provide to this court will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth under pain and penalty of perjury? If so, say yes.
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 Okay. So before we begin, are there documents that you're planning to enter or tender, Ms. Beaubien, in this case?
I sent all the exhibits previously, so nothing additional to what I've already provided.
Okay, and Mr. Wheeler, have you seen those exhibits?
We have seen the relevant exhibits, yes.
Is there any objection to what Ms. Beaubien has submitted in terms of being admitted into the court?
The only one I've seen is the seller's property disclosure statement and, of course, the purchase contract, and we have no problem with those.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to admit them. Let me just say something, Ms. Beaubien. Are you an attorney?
I am not, sir.
Okay. In that case, the documents that you have submitted, I have not looked at. I don't look at them because I don't look at them until trial.
Okay.
So I want to make that clear. They have been admitted because that's what we're talking about now. What evidence is going to be submitted? This is for efficiency purposes, just to, if there's no objection by either side, I will admit the documents. So your documents are admitted, but if you want the court to take a look at them, and if there are things you want to point out, when you get to that part of your trial, your presentation, you need to ask the clerk, Madam Clerk, if you will, please present whatever exhibit it may be, exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4. You put it up on the screen. You tell me what it is you want me to make note of, or what's relevant about it for your trial. Otherwise, I'm not going looking to investigate. It's your trial. You've got to present the information. You've got to convince me by a preponderance of the evidence that you are entitled to what it is you're asking for. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay. Any questions before we get started by either party? All right. In that case, Ms. Beaubien, it's your case. You can make a brief 1-minute opening that tells me what the case is about, and then I'll allow the other side to make an opening. After that, you can, we're going to have you testify and present your case.
You ready?
I am. Go right ahead.
Hopefully it's brief enough, Judge. So prior to purchasing my condo, my realtor provided me with a signed seller's property disclosure statement. There's an exhibit, and it reads, is there presently any polybutylene piping other than the primary service line? Essentially, the defendant said no, and he was in the know. He said no to that question. He was an active board member on the HOA for many, many years. He was well aware that there was polybutylene piping in the condo. And so my whole case is trying to recover the costs associated with that no. To simplify, I have a lot more I wanted to present, but That's kind of the core of the case.
Okay. And Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Aftergut was the seller. He sold this property to Ms. Beaubien in, I believe, 2021. And
2020.
under the purchase contract, there is a seller's property disclosure statement, which is what the plaintiff is relying on. This particular condominium project is almost 40 years old. Mr. Aftergut was on the board of the association until he sold. He went to meetings. He never heard the word polybutyl piping. He never had any idea of that. He heard some discussion that the pipes were going to have to be replaced sometime, but he never heard that word, and he will so testify. The property disclosure statement requires him to, and this is paragraph A2 of the property disclosure statement, says, answer all questions fully, accurately, and to the actual knowledge and belief of the sellers. That's what he did. He had never heard the word polybutyl piping. Mr. Aftergut is an accountant. He's not anybody with any engineering or construction experience. And that I expect that will be his testimony.
Okay. In that case, Ms. Beaubien, it's your case. You can testify and present what it is you'd like to present.
Okay. So I'll begin again. So, let me start again. Prior to purchasing my condo, I reviewed a seller's property disclosure statement, Exhibit A, page 2, Section 5, talks about polybutylene piping. The document was signed by both Fred and Lorraine Aftergut on August 30th, 2020. In December of 2021, at my first annual condo association meeting, I learned that all 3 condo buildings contain polybutylene pipe, a component of the fire sprinkler system. The HOA insurance company was putting pressure on the board to address what I thought to be a new issue. The cost would be $750,000. A special assessment was announced, and each of the 99 unit owners would be required to pay $8,000. That's Exhibit C, pages 1 and 2.
Is that what you'd like me to look at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Willis, if you'll put up that exhibit.
Did you also want to look at the first exhibit? That was the property seller agreement. I apologize.
If you want me to see it, it's so.
So Exhibit A, page 6, and Exhibit C, page 1 and 2. I apologize, Judge. And if you scroll down to, this is C. Yeah. There's the signature page by the sellers, Lorraine and Fred Aftergut. And if you go up a little further, you're going to see, I'm sorry, Judge, you're going to see page 2, 5H. Under section 5 there, it says, section 5H. Is there presently any polybutylene plumbing other than the primary service line? And the no box is checked.
Okay.
And then in the December of 2021 meeting, I reference Exhibit C, pages 1 and 2. So that's the special assessment that I referenced in my comments. And if you scroll through to the second page, you'll see the financial impact to me. And so keep scrolling a little bit more. And I picked option 2. And I'm currently paying that. $8,000. So should I continue, Judge? Years later, I learned phase 1 of the board's decision to replace the polybutylene sprinkler system occurred in 2018. At that time, the board allocated $100,000 from reserve fund to begin the replacement of the 3rd floor of our 3-story buildings. Mr. Aftergut, a CPA and partner in an accounting firm, was a board member from January of 2017 to December of 20. I recommend you review Exhibit D at this point. That documents his terms of service in the community on the board.
Ms.
January.
Willis, where are these on Odyssey?
This one is located in exhibits.
It's on the exhibits tab.
That is correct.
All right.
The image and exhibits tab.
All I've got is that one document.
That's
That is
correct, sir.
Hang on, Miss Bobian, hang on. And all of it comes up as an email, Miss Willis,
That is correct. And it's the attachment.
the PDF.
That is correct.
When I pull that up, I don't get what you're displaying.
It's also located on the summary page, but every page is turned sideways.
Okay.
How long did you live in this condo? 15 years.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Bobian.
Okay, so I'll continue. Mr. Aftergut knew there would be a big financial impact to the homeowners, and that's where I have you refer to Exhibit H, page 4. I have page 4 that starts with reserves, disbursements, October of 2020. So you are one more page to go, Judge. Okay, it appears that the page that I thought you would have would show the financial status of the community. This page dated October 20 talks about reserve disbursements, and then it goes on to talk about reserve balances. And it's apparent that over the years, there's going to be a significant negative balance in reserves. And they're talking about, they're talking about increasing dues and things, but this project is significant when it starts at $750,000. And so it was very apparent that the community was going to be not able to do some of this work right away. And so it just,
let me ask, what are you saying the reserves have to do with the polybutylene piping?
well, Mr. Aftergut, who is portrayed as a numbers guy, and he was a numbers guy, was a treasurer. My point is that he knew these plan projects were being planned. He was present at these board meetings when this was being discussed. And my contention is he knew the size that the community did not have. Well, maybe let me go and let me move off of the documents and just read the rest of my narrative, and let's see how I do. How about that?
We shall see.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
In addition to this, so this is the impact of this having to replace the sprinkler system. In addition to the special assessment, homeowners must relocate for 5 to 8 weeks while work is being performed. The latest floor corrected, homeowners could not return to their home for 58 days. In preparation, owners are told not to return to their homes until all the work is completed. Therefore, you must pack your clothing and other essentials. In addition, you must remove valuables from the home. Not being sure of where I'll reside during this time, I researched a quote for accommodations. The cost of an extended stay in perimeter in Dunwoody will cost $3,000. Further, there'll be expenses associated with rental storage for those items which cannot be left in my condo during construction. The issue here is that the Afterguts lied not out of ignorance, but intent. So they knew the cost of the third floor replacement was $90,000, and the remaining 2 floors would cost more than the third floor sprinkler system replacement, because the third floor sprinkler system could be managed from the attic. while other floors would require breaking into ceilings, requiring occupants to leave and their homes during construction. Mr. Aftergut was a board member and treasurer of the organization during the discussions and approval of the replacement decision. And he knew the costs associated with the replacement could not be financed through the normal HOA fees, and a special assessment would be required. A delay in the replacement, unfortunately, has been caused by the pandemic. And in conclusion, the Afterguts made representations they knew were false with intention and purpose of deceiving me. And that deceit cost me $8,000 plus the cost of relocating for 8 weeks, plus storage costs. Those misrepresentations allowed me to purchase the home that otherwise I would not have purchased. And one additional comment, I'm going a little off script, but Mr. Aftergut was present at many board meetings. I sent 26 pages of documentation and felt I had overdone it because I just wanted to show he was in the meetings. Maybe he didn't know it was called polybutylene, but he knew the sprinkler systems had to be replaced. The replacement of the sprinkler system was because of the polybutylene, but he knew the sprinkler system was going to need to be replaced.
Because of polybutylene?
Because of polybutylene.
Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Wheeler, if you have questions for Ms. Beaubien.
I have no questions.
Okay. In that case, you can call your witness, to Mr. Wheeler.
All right, I call Mr. Fred Aftergut.
Okay.
Would you like for him to simply narrate, or do you want me to ask him questions?
It is up to you, whatever you all are more comfortable with.
Well, I'll ask him questions. He is sitting with me.
Okay.
Mr. Aftergut, how old is the condominium that we're talking about?
It was built in 85.
So it's almost 40 years old. How were you on the board?
Yes,
How long?
I think about 5 years.
How did you meet? Did you go to all meetings?
No, I did not go to all the meetings. I went to most of them, but I did not go to all of them.
How long did you live in that property?
Approximately 15 years.
Did you ever experience any water leaks from the ceiling?
No,
During your term on the board meeting, were you treasurer the whole time?
I don't think so. I may have been treasurer for a while, but I really don't remember. I never handled any money. I did. I do not remember.
Did you write checks?
No.
Can I interject myself, or do I let you?
If you've got a legal objection, you can, but no.
Oh, so if I can document, okay.
So, Ms. Beaubien, here's what happens. You get to ask him questions in a few minutes. So typically when the other side is testifying, it's helpful to take notes of what you want to go back and ask him about.
Okay.
But you don't interrupt and ask your questions contemporaneously. You do them afterwards.
Okay. Thanks, Judge.
Right. All right. So Attorney Wheeler, you can continue, please.
Mr. Aftergut, on your during your service on the board, how many years were you on the board? Do you recall?
I think it was about 5 years.
During that time, did you ever hear the word polybutylene piping?
No, I did not.
Were you aware that there were repairs constantly with this this property?
Repairs, yes.
What floor did you live on?
The first floor.
And I take it you are not aware of the special assessment because you were gone.
Correct. Corrected.
During your term on the board, did the board set up reserves for repairs?
They had reserves, but they were not enough, and it was obvious that they continuously tried to raise the dues.
unsuccessfully?
Yes.
All right, I think he's ready for a cross, Judge.
All right, so Ms. Bobian, if you have questions for Mr. Aftergut, you can ask those now.
Questions, I was just gonna make some comments.
Well,
Question, hold on. Hold on.
I object to that.
All right, well, then
so hang on, Ms. Bobian, hang on. So when there's an objection, he's not talking to you, he's talking to me. So it doesn't require you to hop in. So Ms. Bobian, I need your attention, okay? He's finished presenting his case. You have the option of asking Mr. Aftergut questions. All right?
Okay,
If you do not want to ask him questions and you want to testify as to in response to what he just said, you can do that as well, but then you will not have the opportunity to ask him questions.
so start with the questions.
That's the next step.
Okay. All right, Mr. Aftergut, I believe you were on the board from January 2017 to 2020, and you served as the treasurer. Would that be correct?
I may have had that title, but I did not do anything as a treasurer would normally do.
Well, and then, let's see. My friend here is helping craft some questions, so, you admit, you stated that the reserves were not adequate, so does it surprise you that eventually the bill was gonna have to be paid in terms of replacing the sprinkler system in all three buildings? You were here in 2018 when the first phase was done. You must have known before you left that there was going to be a significant project that was being discussed in multiple meetings. So I
object.
really
Is there a question in there?
Yes, you don't really recall that there was going to be a financial impact at to this community?
There was always going to be a financial impact to the community. That this was not the first assessment that they had while I lived there. And it was because they did not charge enough for the monthly dues.
Okay. And what was the reason given for the replacement of the sprinkler system on the top floor of all three condo buildings in 2018?
Ask the question again. What
was the reason that the phase
the
one
insurance company was going to drop our fire insurance? That's the reason.
Because the system.
Reason for the replacement.
So what is the reason for the replacement? The insurance company forced it on the community?
Yes.
Why? Why did they force it?
Why did they force it, Mr. Aftergut?
I have no idea. They said the sprinklers need to be replaced.
And
why did they make it so much people today?
And,
Right,
and
so
you don't know
Ms.
why. You're on the board, you're an active member of the board, and you don't know why this $90,000 project started in the community. You have no understanding or know why that happened.
That's correct.
So Ms. Bobian,
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to need you to ask the questions, okay?
Okay. Like I said, my friend was going to give me some counsel. So
I understand, but if he's not entering an appearance as an attorney, this is your case.
I see. All right. So I guess the last question. Mr. Aftergut is not giving me the reason for the sprinkler system. So I've asked him, he keeps answering, it's the insurance company. I think the community and the people enduring this change knew that it was polybutylene piping.
All right, so let me ask, do you have any other questions for Mr. Aftergut?
I do not.
Okay. Attorney Wheeler, based on that, any redirect?
No.
Okay. Any rebuttal testimony, Ms. Bobian? Anything
Well,
else you want to tell me?
Yeah, there is, I wanted to just kind of describe,
Objection.
Well, I haven't heard it yet, Mr. Wheeler.
I wanted to go through, the impact of the homeowners when their time comes.
Please,
Well, I want to know the reason why the sprinkler systems were
So
replaced in
hang
2018.
on, Ms. Bobian. So you've gotten to ask all your questions. You've gotten to testify. Based on the information that has come out at this point, I will allow you to testify again, but only to new information. If you have new information that you plan to testify to, that is it. Based on what you heard from Mr. Aftergut. So do you have any new information that you're going to testify to?
I don't have any new information, Judge. Mr. Aftergut is claiming he doesn't.
So hang on.
Okay.
All right. The way this goes is I'm going to allow you to talk with me one last time in terms of argument. Okay. And that's when you get to say why you believe you win and why he loses. Okay. So we're at the end of the case. Both sides have presented all of their information. Let me just ask Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, do you have any other evidence to present?
No, Your Honor. I have a closing argument and that's it.
Okay. So, Ms. Bobian, you can present your closing argument or you can wait for them and you can present after them. It's up to you.
I'll wait till their closing argument.
All right. So, Mr. Wheeler, you can go right ahead.
This case is based completely on the property disclosure statement, which is attached as an exhibit to the complaint and which is Exhibit A in the court. The property disclosure statement says specifically that is to be answered to the best of the actual knowledge and belief of the seller. Mr. Aftergut had no knowledge or information and never heard the word polybutyl piping. He knew that this is an older property. It needs maintenance. It's 40 years old. You don't have a 40-year-old house that doesn't need maintenance. Everybody knows that. There's no reason he's not an engineer. He was aware of some of the finances and sat on the board meeting, but he had never heard the word polybutyl piping, which is the entire substance of this case. And that's on page 2, paragraph 6J of the property disclosure statement, Exhibit A, which was reviewed a while ago. We're sorry that Mrs. Bobian has to pay for something, but it's not the fault of Mr. Aftergut. And by the way, the law is pretty clear. A property seller is required to disclose latent defects which he knows about, but otherwise not.
Okay, is that everything?
That's it. 40-year condo, you don't expect it to be new.
Ms. Bobian, it's your turn to make your closing argument.
The replacement of the sprinkler system is not due to an age issue. It's not because the community is 40 years old. Polybutylene piping has been in the news probably since the late 70s, maybe 80s. It is a product, I believe, that was made by Dow. It was defective. And the reason we were having claims, it's because it was polybutylene piping, not because it was old and a 40-year-old building. It was the core of the problem here in the community. The insurance company was putting pressure on the board because our claims were going up because the piping was defective, not because it was old, because the piping was polybutylene. So for Mr. Aftergut to suggest that he did not know that is startling to me. So,
Really much better.
again, those misrepresentations allowed me to purchase a home that otherwise I would not have purchased. Thank you, Judge.
All right. I think both of you have characterized the case appropriately. It's a notice issue. And I think there are some things that Mr. Aftergut understood and knew were coming due or that would be coming up. And at this time, there are just some legal issues that I'm going to check into. That will probably only take me 30 minutes or so. But once I've done that, I will make my ruling. So I'm going to take it under advisement. Are there any other issues we need to bring up or deal with? All right. In that
No, Your
case, I agree with both of you that I think it fits squarely within a notice issue, and what was known and disclosed. All right. I understand your argument, Attorney Wheeler, with regard to the technical and the word polybutylene. I don't think it's that narrow, though. All right. But I will go check. I'm going to look at the letter of the law. I'll make my ruling. Depending on what my ruling is, of course, folks, this is magistrate court for either side. That goes for you, Ms. Bobian. That goes for you, Attorney Wheeler. You, being an attorney, you know this. You all have 30 days to appeal my decision. Right? If you choose to do so, you get a new trial as if this one never happened. Okay? So that is where we are. I'm going to excuse you all. I'll get a ruling out later today. All right?
Your Honor, do you plan to make a written order?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
It will be a written order. Okay. All right. Thank you both. You all are excused and we'll see you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.